This is Story Route Zero, a podcast where friends gather to talk of their travels through the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, and even the confusing worlds encountered in games. We may not always know where we're going, but that's often half the fun. Do you have a question, comment, concern, or a story of your own? Hit us up on Twitter at storyroute_0. You can email us at storyroute0@gmail.com, and you can find everything we do at storyroute0.com. Let's have a journey. I cut me a piece with some fine wine. It brought peace to my mind in the summertime, and it rolled. Welcome to Story Route Zero. My name is Matthew. I've got some friends with me, and for the first time in a long time, we've got a full house straight out the swamps of Hunt Showdown. Jason, how are you, sir?
I'm your Huckleberry.
Cool. As always, not from the South. How are you, Moose?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well.
And two hanging letters in an abyss of black.
I'm not sure how that worked out.
How are you, sir?
I just was hoping I'd be in stereo, but it didn't end up that way. I'm very well, thank you.
So how are we, guys?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
How's everybody's weekend? Who wants to go first?
I will not go first.
Uh-oh.
So he called not first.
Yeah.
You know, I'll go first. I'll go first.
Not it.
I'll go first. We had guests this weekend. Reba's cousins' children, twin 13-year-old boys, came over, hung out, and they like playing with me because I like the video games.
Mm-hmm.
You're also kind of a big child yourself.
This is true. This is very true.
In a very respectful way.
No,
I didn't mean it in any other way.
No, no, it's very true. I'm a gigantic 7-year-old, and you know, I try and convince my wife that every day, and she's like, "No, you're pretty much an adult." I'm like, no, I don't want to be. But we played a board game called Unstable Unicorns. And it's an interesting time. I think it's really, as much as I love Gabe and Zach, they're really easy to strategize around. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but like, it's like when you're a kid and you see like a board game or a card game going a certain way, it just becomes keep this person from winning on the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And both of them were so distracted by what I was doing that eventually I just keep them looking at me and avoid it and keep them from trying to win themselves, because both of them were in positions to win, but they were so worried about me winning. And actually, truth be told, I was playing for Reba because we had thought the game had ended, so I put all my stuff away, and then I just never came back into the game. So in reality, I lost. Reba won, and Gabe and Zach were second and third. But then we made homemade pizzas and played a lot of video games, which I'll talk about in a little bit later. Also, I got a lot of sleep, which was nice.
Sleep is good.
Yeah. Sleep's a good time.
You know, I'm glad you expanded on this, because when you said you were hanging out with the twins all weekend, I thought I'd missed a very important update in your life or something like that. So,
No.
I feel like a bit of a better friend.
all of a sudden, kids.
I didn't even ask because no one else questioned it. It's like, all right, that's sense.
All right, we're going with this. Okay.
Phillips is like, how many episodes was I gone?
Well, I didn't ask because I was sitting there and I'm like, I could have swore he said they were twins. I'm not sure. So I was like, I assume they are. That's who he's talking about. You know, they're back in town, so he's hanging out. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I
Have
think
fun.
I think I talked about them early on in our little run here.
Yeah.
Because I think that was the first time we did an overnight with them. But yeah,
Mm.
Gabe and Zach are two wonderful little boys, and they're great.
Awesome.
And they are fascinated by the fact that I host a podcast on YouTube, but don't want to make money.
I'm sure they are because they're kids, and that's
Well,
usually.
they watch a lot of it, and they're like, "So how much money do you make?" I go, "None," and they're like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I don't really try, and I have a job that I really like." So.
This is more entertainment than it is.
Yeah,
like a
this
job.
is an excuse for me to talk to my friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, whoever wants to go next, fire away.
We
I'll
took
go
a family.
next.
Oh, go
All right.
All right.
Well, now everyone's chomping at the bit to go next.
Week's been pretty good. Apparently, Ubisoft dropped news of expansion for Division 2. What is it? Warlands in New York, I think it is.
Warlord, New York.
Warlords. I don't. Whatever. I'm playing the game. I don't care about the expansion yet. It's
None
not
of us
out.
are.
It's not out yet. The expansion doesn't matter to me. Anyways, so they like dropped.
It's not a real expansion until it's in my phone book. Damn it.
Exactly. They dropped the price on the Division in the US PSN store, and then like Xbox dropped
$3.
No, like it was initially like $8, $10, and then Xbox dropped it. Microsoft dropped it down to like $2.99. So like PlayStation followed suit, and it was like it's like $3.20 after tax. And so I got back into it just because I was like, man, I don't have that many trophies left to do on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had some buddies of mine who were like, yeah, I'm looking for something to play. I'm like, $3. It is going to be better than any freaking coffee you could buy for $3. So,
Whoa.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I've got some good coffee for cheap, dude.
anyways, so I've been playing that with a couple of friends of mine, and then working on getting my gear. I finally hit gear score 500.
Cool.
Took me almost a year, but I was not playing for like 6 months, 6 to 9 months. But anyways, got some good gear. I've been grinding out some trophies. So I only have two like story or like in-game trophies left, and then I have Dark Zone and PvP. So those will be my last trophies. Will probably be Dark Zone, but so I don't have much left, and so I've just been farming the trophies and playing the hell out of the game. Still loving it. It's a lot of fun. They've rebalanced like a lot of stuff. I feel they've kind of fixed the drop rate on things. I got some crazy new weapons, which is nice. So it's been a lot of fun
Awesome.
playing the game again. It's also fun playing through the game again with new people and like starting out at a lower level. Like sometimes you know how you're like, I just don't want to play, replay a character, but it's a lot of fun running through stuff. Because like I started a new character because for those that don't know, like the game scales to the highest person in your squad. So you end up being like 1 or 2 levels below them. So all the enemies, so even though I have a gear score of 500, all the enemies will be like level 28 to 30. And the people I co-op with will be like level 28. And so they can do damage like they're level 28, but they can't take damage like they're 28, if that makes sense. So it's like they still have to be careful and stuff. But then it just turns out to not be fun because I can like literally 2-shot the enemies of like the areas that we're playing for them. And so that's why I'm rolling like a lower character. Like I actually was playing with one of them on his alt character, and I was playing my high-end character, and I was using a pistol. I was using my sidearm because I was just like, this will actually like require like more than 2 bullets. so it might be a good time for everybody. But anyway, so it's been fun. I'm looking forward to playing some more of it. I am actually thinking of getting the expansion. I don't know. I haven't even watched the video on it yet.
Me
I
either.
think the price tag is pretty good. It's $29.99. So hopefully it's like a meaty size. I think they were saying it's Matt, you could probably confirm this. I think it was like a quarter of the New York map or like a third. So it's not as big as Division 1, but it'll be a sizable area that we'll be able to go back.
I mean, the Division 1 map wasn't huge.
But it was still pretty big.
I mean, it was big because you had to run everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, and so what was also cool is like after a certain time, like recently, all the year 1 content became free, and
That's cool.
and then they also dropped like update 1, 2, and 3. So like update 1, like you go to Camp White Oak, which is supposed to be like Camp David, I guess. Then there's a Coney Island mission you can go to, and then you go to a zoo because the Black Tusk are trying to like gather whatever they're gathering at a zoo, and that's actually a stronghold. So you get 2 regular island with the Coney Island has 2 missions which lead into the DLC, and then Camp White Oak is just basically 1 mission, and then you have the stronghold. And so I just played through them on story. I don't think you have to there's no prerequisites. Like you can just jump in. Like Matt, if you were to come back to the game, fire it up, you could just go right to those missions and do the story missions and have a good time with it. So,
I actually don't think I could. I think I'd have to start that game over because I got a new PS4. I did not. And when I platinumed that game, I just deleted it. I don't. As far as I know, the save file is not in the cloud for me. So.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look at it for sure, but hearing you talk about it again made me look at it.
Well, they also another thing 100% is
100% honest, but
what's cool about Division 2 over Division 1 is they have the specialists. So they had the grenade launcher, which is the demolitionist. They had the survivalist, which was a crossbow.
Did they add a 4th one?
They've added 2 additional ones on top of the 4th one. So they had the 3rd one was a sniper, which was a scout, which is the class I'm playing right now. I'm basically trying to I'm going through and doing all the dailies and hard missions to earn the points to level all my stuff up. So like if I want to switch to something, I have all the points in it to do all the damage, because they kind of built it into your specialty. Like you can increase your damage on up to 3 gun types by 15%. So I pick my assault rifle, I pick my LMG, and then I pick an alternate gun. Like I'll pick maybe an SMG if I have a second build that has an SMG. But also it allots you a special sidearm, grenades. Like you get different grenades. So they have those 3, and then they dropped a gunner not too long. That was towards
that was right after
summer. Yeah, it was maybe summer.
That was pretty close to launch. Isn't that a minigun? Yeah,
it's a minigun. And then they have a firewall, which is a flamethrower type dude. Right. And then I think there's a shock one. I can't remember what the name of that one is, but there's one that does shock damage or something, I think. But there's at least 5 now. So they either 5 or 6. They added a couple, and so which is awesome. And I don't know if they're going to add one for the with the expansion. But it would be cool. The problem if you don't own the year 1 stuff is you have to do a grind to get the gunner. It's not you don't have to pay for it, but you have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it if you don't do the year 1 thing. And so I was thinking, man, I might jump in and do that, So but I was talking to one of the guys that I play Division 2 with, and he was saying how now all the level 30 gear, your stats are not going to roll over. So he's like everybody's saying just basically get rid of all your gear that isn't an exotic, and for the expansion, and you'll have better gear when you start actually better than what you have now when you start the expansion. So I was like,
cool.
Okay.
But all right. So Moose spent a weekend in DC.
Yep.
Phillips, Jason?
I didn't do too much. I spent a lot of time with the kids, and
cool.
We had a lot of fun. We my daughter has quite the imagination, so playing with a little girl all weekend. You play family, and
Oh, I hate the family
Souls and-
game. It's so
No,
fucking
family
stupid.
is yeah,
Jason's like, I play that every day, and now I gotta
Oh,
play it with my
so
kid.
the family game. Yep. So we played a lot of family, and
Cool.
lately she is a cat, and I have to
All right.
talk to her in meows.
Sweet.
And so yeah, if you want to see how much patience you got, try doing that for a couple hours. And but I enjoy it, so it was a lot of fun.
Sure.
That was the majority of my weekend, was just doing stuff with the kids, and I didn't get up to anything. We'll talk about gaming later, but I
Mhm.
didn't really get up to anything overly exciting. But yeah, no, it was good. I had a good time, and ready for the week now.
Cool. And then there is the guy in the swamp. Marshall, how was your weekend?
it was relaxing. We didn't have any plans, which is always a nice thing as a parent. We played family.
Sweet.
Aria likes
But the
to,
game was real.
she likes to play it where she's the parent,
Oh,
and then makes
Yeah.
like me and Jess refer to each other as brother and sister, which is super weird.
Oh yeah.
But then she calls us honey. Like, honey,
Oh,
come
boy.
here. Honey. It's like, all right. All right.
I don't know if I can suspend my disbelief here.
Yeah. We did take a family trip to Home Depot, so that's always entertaining.
Cool.
Yeah.
In the game or a real one?
A real one.
Oh, okay, a real one.
Okay.
Oh,
There's a Home Depot expansion.
it's part of the season pass,
Oh,
but from
okay.
year one.
Oh, okay. You had to it's a pre-order bonus.
Well, so we had rearranged our dining room and the playroom. We swapped. It's better spacing.
Mhm.
So I asked you guys about a coaxial cable. I found the 90-degree attachment. This coaxial cable must have been in the house for at least 15 years. I needed 2 wrenches to get this thing out of the wall. It was like, wow, this thing's in there. I'm like standing up like, that's what she said.
I'm pretty sure my last apartment before I moved in here, like I'm pretty sure like 5 coats of paint were over the cable when I moved in. I'm like, I hope that thing works. Luckily it did. And like, I'm like, all right, as long as this stays working, I don't have to touch it.
Yeah.
And the weather was pretty good. So we took the girls to the park yesterday.
Cool.
Like maybe mid 60s.
It was nice yesterday.
It was nice yesterday.
Yeah.
And I mean, I worked on a bunch of reviews, which we'll talk about when we talk about games. But that was it. Pretty tame weekend.
Cool. All right, who wants to go? Jason, we'll just stay with you.
right.
You are now a respected critic of the video games for Obelisk, and you are pumping out reviews quicker than something that's fast. I don't know.
You think about it. You can get back to us on that.
I'll call you later.
I feel like if I don't do one a week, I'm gonna be like.
I lost track of how many you did this week, but I'm pretty sure it's 3.
I think it was 3. Yeah.
I think there, or at least there's 3 that have been published.
It was Kunai, Dead Cells, and Hunt.
Really? I thought you did more. Or maybe it's because you were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. All
I have 4 in the works, but
because Dead Cells you had before the last show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kunai came out the day after the show last week.
Okay.
The main one was Hunt Showdown. Thus my background for audio listeners. My background is Hunt, the Louisiana swamps.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. It is a multiplayer shooter, so if you're not a fan of online shooters, you're probably not going to like the game.
Okay.
There's plenty of PvE elements to it, but it does boil down to a shooter. And our buddy Jeff, he's not the biggest fan of the shooter, the PvP shooter.
Right.
And it was entertaining, right, Moose?
Yeah. Yeah. Jeff is fun listening to when he's playing PvP.
if he's playing something that's frustrating him, it gets really fun, and then it just ends.
Well, it did
there
finally end. Usually it does finally.
Yeah,
Usually
this
it's
one-
like
We
Well,
kind
it
of
just
agreed
ends with
to-
him leaving the party and going offline.
right.
Yeah, there was one. He did that once. It was just like, what the? And then all of a sudden, like, Jeff Klassen has
boom.
left the party.
Jeff's gone, and you're like, what?
What?
He
the-
was so mad he didn't even want to.
But,
Switch games.
For those unfamiliar, you play a bounty hunter. Your task is to summon this supernatural creature, kill it, banish it, and get the hell out of Dodge.
Cool.
There's a lot of other people who want to do the same, and they're not going to let you do it. But what's cool is, say you want to sit back, let someone else do the killing, then just go in, pick them off, take their loot, and then you get out. There's strategy to it. Like, everyone knows where you are once you're summoning, so maybe stand back. Or if you're playing with teams, you can have lookouts. It's tension filled because it's not like a Call of Duty. It's not fast paced. It takes place in the 1890s. You have bolt action rifles, 6 shooters. Like, I was in one shootout with a guy. We both missed 3 times, and we're sitting there like reloading.
You're looking at each other like, I'm gonna get you.
What's the
Dare move.
Have you ever seen
What's
the
the
video of
damn-
that Civil War shooter where like
Yeah.
they're shooting and they have to reload? It takes them 5 minutes to reload the gun.
Once the black powder gets in here, I'm gonna get you.
You have no idea what kind of hell is coming to you.
Definitely a really fun game. If you're a fan of online shooters, check it out. It's on sale on Steam for, I think it's $24. Is that right, Matt?
That was Canadian, so it's about it's
19.
yeah, like 19, $18.
I think it's 40 on
It's
PS4?
40. It's full price on PS4, but it's a $40 game. Not
in
a
fairness, it just came out on PS4 , so
Yeah, it's been on
that's the
Steam
regular
for a while,
yeah,
hasn't it? Like
almost 2 years.
18.
2
Yeah,
years.
It was early access.
Okay.
What else did I play?
Yeah, when you started talking about this game, I knew I had heard of it, but I didn't remember
Yeah.
from where. And just, bias aside, I think your review of it is the best sales pitch for the game.
Well,
And
thanks.
I have to admit, like, I must have like not been looking at the right sites, or like just heard like an early impression of it, but I didn't hear like good things about it, or maybe not. I wasn't hearing, not that people were talking bad about it, but I just wasn't hearing good things. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, I just didn't think, and like it was a blip on my radar. Didn't really hear people raving about it, and then just like was like, okay, whatever. It's on Steam. If it comes to PS4, maybe I'll look at it. And so when Jason was talking about reviewing it and then it coming, like, and then Matt was dropping the Steam reviews, and then I was looking up other reviews, and I'm like, wow, actually this did pretty well review wise. So probably worth checking out, especially if it's a $40 game.
Yeah, I mean,
Good price point.
I mean, I purchased it.
I know you're doing a can't wait. I'm gonna play it. Once I get my ass out of DC.
Right.
Usually when I review, I read other reviews after because I don't want any.
Yeah,
Influence.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people.
because your name is
complained about
Jason Marshall, not Philip Mewson. Yeah, we know.
A lot of people complained about the load times, but like, they're bad. They're almost Bloodborne original launch
Okay.
bad,
Ooh.
but they're at the beginning of the match.
That's it.
So, like, you have a 20-minute match, you get out, load the new one. You might have to wait a bit, go take a quick break. Like, it's not like a fast-paced shooter, like I said. So
Right.
it's not like I want to get right back in. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
take it, like, so
There's some
and once
strategy to
and once
taking
it
your time.
loads, like, all right, then you're in. There's no load times
Yeah.
once you're in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so run me through like just a game session, not like not like I spent all day, but you load into a match. Your
So you
objective.
load in, and everyone has the ability called Dark Sight. It's basically sonar.
That's how you find the objective, essentially.
Yeah, they're called clues because you have to
Okay.
find the boss's lair. 3 clues will lead you to the lair. You can get lucky. The first clue could actually be near the lair, and it'll trigger. You face the boss. There's 3 different ones, all worse and worse, until you get to the giant spider, which
Oh god.
horse-sized spiders. No, I'm cool.
No.
Yeah, that are fast as hell, by the way.
Yeah, like all of a sudden it's on the ceiling, and you're like,
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I'm done.
You're like, I'm a guy.
I just want to see my destroyer.
Once you kill the boss, you have to banish it. Any other player who uses the dark side while you're banishing, it's not just this little clue. It's like a giant lightning strike in the air, so they can easily find where you are. So like you'll be in like a barn, and like people taking pot shots at you as you're basically trying to capture it's kind of like domination in Call of Duty. You have to capture the point. Like, so you're waiting till it's banished, then you have to make it to an extraction point. So like I said, someone else could kill you, take your bounty, and win the match.
Okay.
And
how you won one?
I won a couple. I also lost a couple, which basically deletes your hunter.
What do you mean deletes your hunter?
So you have 2 leveling bars. You have one where your individual hunter levels up. You can gear them out, add like different tools, and then you have an overall level where basically you unlock stuff. If you die in bounty hunt, your hunter dies with the gear.
But if you have, it's sort of like Dead Cells, where you have access to different weapons.
Right. So then the next hunter you pick, you can, if you unlock weapons, you can purchase them again.
Okay.
With currency. So you already unlocked it, so you could purchase. You don't have to work to unlock the weapon, but you might not have the currency at the time.
Okay. So, but the currency is persistent then, or?
Yeah. Like you get currency even if you lose. You get more obviously if you win.
So, but it stays there. And then so when you load up your new hunter, you can like be like, I'll buy this shotgun instead of this one-shot rifle, or maybe I think it was a shotgun that Jeff was using.
Right.
Yeah, he hated that.
Yeah. Oh no! I know he hated it. I heard him.
In a way, it balances. Like Jeff got killed by someone who was a level 40. He's like, "How do you compete?" So, one match I killed a level 90. That hunter, the guy lost it. His level, he could purchase stuff again, but he lost. So when you level your individual hunter, you unlock more slots. So basically, you're restarting. But even though you have all the unlockables, so it does balance it in a way, and it's super easy to like. Just because they're high level, they're not just hunting you. There's other enemies and the boss. So
there's grunts as well.
Yeah,
now,
wait till they're distracted, and there's no armor or anything. A clean headshot, they're dead. Like that shotgun Jeff had, he hated. One shot though to the head, most hunters die. Like, so it's not like, oh, I'm level 90, I could survive 2 shots.
That sounds gripping. That really does. So the progress of a match, you load in. You have now. Is it you find the clues and big bad spawns, or you find the clues, go to big bad? Apart from grunts, is there anything else in the way?
There's a couple other medium-sized enemies that are a pain in the ass. There's one, the water devil. So if you stay in the water too long, basically you're screwed. It'll like pull at you, like
Awesome.
But you could see all these other enemies. The bosses only stay in their lair. Like one's in a church. The butcher, he doesn't leave the church. So if the map's kind of clear, I was able to run out of the church, kind of heal up, and he won't chase you beyond the interior. But then you risk, obviously,
someone else going in and stealing it.
Or other people seeing you run out and take shots at you.
So I kind of hope this game is super successful, because I feel like the possibility for a bunch of cryptozoology DLC would be perfect for this game. Like, like a Chupacabra expansion, a New Jersey Devil expansion, things like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be cool. And while I do have it, I did not have a chance to play it, but hearing you talk about it, reading the review, really makes me want to.
The tutorial's horrifying, as Matt will attest to.
Yes, it's not if you have even a little bit of arachnophobia, just delete it now. Don't even start
Like
it.
the tutorial's the only time you're truly solo. Like you can do a solo match in the multiplayer. There's a quick play where everyone's solo, but there's other people in the map.
Right.
The tutorial basically has you doing the hunt portion alone, and it's the spider boss.
So
and
basically, play it in the dark, headphones on at night.
Yep, that's what I did.
And
it's like
you'll sleep like a baby.
Oh yeah.
Might as well play Brahms's Lullaby. All right, what's next?
I'm currently working on Bloodroot, which comes out Thursday. My embargo is only after Act 1, so I can talk about it.
Okay.
It is it's like a top-down Guacamelee, but even faster pace.
Okay.
Like
I'm watching a video on it now, and it's
like instead of
really
like
fast.
it's completely outdoors, but there are like sections which are like the rooms, and you have to clear it to move on. Okay. But like the gimmick here is you could pick up anything, like pick up a table, beat a guy with it, then pick up the broken leg from the table and beat someone else with it, stab someone with a carrot.
Top-down WWE brawler. I like it.
You could grab a ladder, spin around, and hit people, or use the ladder to kind of vault up to a higher platform.
Take that, Hideo Kojima.
But it's very fast paced. It's just it's enjoyable. It's like you get that just clearing a section. Like, this was cool.
All right.
But like you only have, it's basically one hit, you're dead. And one hit, they're dead. So you have to like combo it. Like as long as you have a weapon and you start comboing, everything goes down. But if you like pause too long, you die. But you only restart in the room you're in. So you don't have to go back to the beginning of the level.
Okay.
Cool. It's not a long game. There's 3 acts. Obviously, I can only talk about Act 1, but well, technically this will be out when it's my embargo, but it's really enjoyable, and I think it's only $20.
Okay. Platforms?
Everything, I think. Everything. Switch, PS4. I want to say PC.
Yeah, it's on Steam.
Okay. Easy platinum, from what I could tell.
All right.
Plus, it's not screwing with the trophies this week.
What?
Usually, when I get a code early, the trophies don't load right because they're not in the system. So I can't view my trophies for like a week because it's stuck at like 20%. They've all been loading and on PSN profiles. So maybe they missed a hide trophies button. And then lastly, I put about 20-something hours into a PC game.
What?
Now that I record platinum, I was like, I have more freedom. ScourgeBringer, which I read one description, so I won't steal this from my review. Dead Cells meets Celeste. Do I have your attention?
Okay, you have my attention, that's for sure.
So the main character moves around like she does in Celeste, with the kind of air dash and stuff.
Air dash, climbing.
But then add like the fast-paced combat of Dead Cells.
Oh, nice.
Like chaining through. And it's a roguelike. So as you gain the currency, you have a skill tree, you die, you start at the beginning. And it's like, as you move through so each room has 2 waves you have to clear it for the room to open. And you keep moving. Eventually you get to a mini boss, which unlocks the boss. It's early access now, so there's only 3 levels. I did beat it. It's a ton of fun. And I actually tweeted at the the developer of Flying Oak Games. And I was like, what do I do now? And they're like, why don't you try a no-hit run? I'm like, oh, that's funny.
I'm sorry, sir. I am not a Souls runner.
I was like, I don't know about that. That's
Now, is it early access right now?
yes.
Okay.
So it's only on Steam, but I believe it's going to come to Switch.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, wait a minute, it's on Switch? Oh no! They might have just hit Matt's 4 happy spots.
No, it's super fast. It's got that I want to try again. I want to try again feel to it. Having a skill tree is cool because Dead Cells didn't really have a skill tree.
No, it just had the weapons.
So it's not just the weapons. You kind of upgrade yourself, so it kind of adds a different mechanic to it.
Okay.
They're looking into another world and some new weapons and stuff.
Skill tree persistent?
What?
Is the skill tree persistent?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have like a ton of runs, you've upgraded a lot of skills, you keep all that, right?
Yeah. So your skills remain. Like you spend the currency, you get the skill point. That's good for every run. You get the second skill every run. The only thing different, you start with your basic weapons every run. But it becomes easier to upgrade or because eventually you gain more currency as you upgrade, which makes purchasing other stuff easier.
Okay.
That kind of sounds like Children of Morta, right, Moose?
A little bit.
Okay. That's all right. Okay.
So like it's called blood, which is the currency. I know it's dark.
Oh.
One of the skills you eventually unlock is a combo. The higher your combo, the more blood currency drops. So as you get better and unlock other skills, it's easier to keep your combo up, which makes earning currency easier. And there's a vendor each level who sells like weapons and like other upgrades. I definitely had a double dip, get it on Switch.
Cool.
And the one more game I played was West of Dead. It's a
West of Dead, East of Life.
It's a
literal purgatory.
It's
rated R, coming to theaters this June.
it's a top down, like think Hotline Miami meets Dead Cells. I'm gonna go with a lot of Dead Cells stuff.
I mean,
and then how about this?
I mean,
coming in 2022, a new genre, the Dead Cells like.
Yeah.
Well, wait for this. Because this sold Matt on it too. The voice actor for the character is Ron Perlman.
Oh God, that's amazing. West of Dead, voiced by Hellboy. I will take it. I will take it.
Man, this looks good. That looks like a lot of fun.
Similar concept. Like
I watched a clip from speaking of Ron Perlman. Sorry to interrupt. He is awesome. And I saw a clip. I forgot that in Enemy at the Gates, he's playing a Russian sniper, but he's got an English accent.
Yep.
And,
why not?
Yeah. No, I just. Oh man, I love Ron Perlman, and that's all I've got. Continue.
Yeah, it's a twin stick shooter, but. I mean, you kind of look like the character from Dead Cells a little, like your skull's on fire, which is cool, though.
Who doesn't want their skull on fire
when
they're running around me?
Ghost Rider, yeah.
I mean, I feel like if I had it, it would probably be inconvenient at work, but you know.
But I mean, if you're running around, it looked like dark areas. So, like, if you're running around tombs or caves or stuff, like, you're lighting your way, so it's all right.
Yeah.
We call that an auto lantern.
Yeah.
This was only a beta. I'm not sure when it fully releases, but it's definitely something.
I mean, it looks like the initial release date was November 14th, 2019, but it doesn't say if that was early access. It doesn't say if that was just Steam or something like that, but it does say it's available on all platforms. So Switch, PS4, Xbox One.
Is that, what says that, the wiki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Googling the game.
Right, no.
That's probably the plan.
That's what I was gonna say. Like sometimes they say, "Oh, it's available here," and you go and you like look in the store, and it's like it's not there. So it's really like they're playing, but it's just not available everywhere yet.
Yeah.
Definitely something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it says it doesn't have an official release date sometime in 2020.
Oh,
Now, is this something you're playing for Obelisk or?
No, I actually heard about it this morning from
Okay.
Carrick from ACG did a preview.
yeah,
So
his video came up when I Googled the game.
So I went to look it up, and they're like, "Oh, enter a giveaway for a key," and I was like, "Oh, all right. What's the worst that could happen?" And like the key pops up immediately. I'm like, "That was weird," but then I realized, like, "Oh, it's a beta. It ends today." It was an open beta. I'm like, I'll take it. I got to play for about 40 minutes.
And you felt like a winner for all 40 of them.
Enough that I definitely wish listed, and I'm gonna be looking for it.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Based on what you're talking about, I'm definitely going to look into it more. So, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Phillips, you've been gone for a while. What you been playing, sir?
Well, last time I was on, I believe that I was playing Half-Life 2.
Yes.
And so, Half-Life 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. And the reason that I loaded it back up is because I haven't played it since it's been at least a decade. And so I wanted to see if I still felt the same way about it as I did previously.
Years now?
2004. Yeah, so it's
15 years. Almost
been a
16.
while.
Yeah.
And I ended up appreciating it even more today, having the benefit of maturity and a few more years on the planet. So I appreciated it a lot more for a lot of the stuff it did. And it inspired me to load up Black Mesa. Now, Black Mesa is a fan-made reimagining of Half-Life 1. And it started as 2 separate mods, and eventually they got together and Valve gave them their blessing to release it as a full commercial product. So it's called
Which is awesome.
It is awesome, and it works for Valve because they get a 30% cut of a remake they didn't have to make. And that's just good business.
That's capitalism right there.
Yeah.
The game has been around in some form for
Ever.
almost as long as Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
And it's finally done. Like, it's actually done. They released their 1.0 client, and I've kind of saved it. I wanted to wait till it was finished to play it, just because of what that series means to me. I didn't really want to beta test it, I guess. And I wanted they released it in so you play the game, and at the end of the game there's another place you go to, spoilers, called Zen, and it took them a long time to make that section of the game, and when you play it you understand why. And so I finally played the completed thing, and as I was telling you guys, it's one of my favorite games I've ever played in my life, ever. And
So it's right up there with Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2.
I think I appreciate it more than Half-Life 1.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's like, picture the biggest Bloodborne fans in the world just making their version of Bloodborne, right? And so the people making it have such a passion for the project that they're pouring their heart into it, and they're doing it because they're inspired. They're not doing it to become millionaires. And so I think that that's when a lot of artists kind of make their best stuff. And as you're playing it, it doesn't feel like a mod. It feels like something it feels like a $60 commercially made product by a professional gaming studio. And these are all just modders and community that made it. They're called a Crowbar Collective, and they are going to be at PAX East coming up.
Which is awesome.
It is awesome. And I can't just gush enough about this game. I loved it so much. So it took me 20 hours to do one playthrough.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a pretty sizable game.
Well, I weren't Half-Life 1 and 2 actually pretty long games to get through?
Half-Life 2, my most recent playthrough was almost 12 hours. Now, that does include exploration, and Black Mesa has much more of that. That Black Mesa is longer than Half-Life 1.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I've done like I've known about Black Mesa for a few years, just because Brad Shoemaker from Giant Bomb he would talk about it every so often.
Mhm.
Like it would be years between mentions, but but then I read at Vice Games, Rob Zachney did a pretty good write up about Black Mesa, and he basically, and I think you've said this in our chats offline, that this is not a 1-for-1 Half-Life 1.
no, it's
Yeah.
not at all.
It's there's I mean, like you said, Zen's an additional area. Yes.
Zen was in the original game,
Okay.
but it was much smaller. And in the new game, like I just watched someone do a full playthrough on it, and it was almost 3 hours just for Zen.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And in the original game, it was I think arguably by far the weakest part of the game compared to the rest of the game. And what they've done in this, I'll send you guys a video after we're recording, just so you can see kind of what they've done. But it's pretty amazing what they did there. And
Mhm.
it's not a 1-for-1. They call it a reimagining. So the way I was kind of describing it to Jason earlier was, picture a band covering a song from a different genre, and they do a completely different version of that song, but it's still got all the same beats and stuff.
Right.
So it isn't 1-for-1, and I think it's worth playing both because they handle certain things differently. But a lot of the stuff, I mean, like, so if you look up lists of most impressive openings, the tram ride from Half-Life is often listed for PC games.
Yeah, it's usually like
Um,
top 5.
Yeah, at the time, it's dated by today's standards, but at the time, it was doing things that technically were mind blowing. Just how big the level was and stuff compared to what else was around at that time. And so
I think that was my only familiarity with Half-Life, was that seeing that tram ride.
yeah,
So
and
I
they
don't-
redid it in Half-Life 2 as well. Like Half-Life 2 starts with a tram ride, not to the same extent,
Right.
but so from my foggy memory, it seems pretty 1-to-1, the tram ride, but then from there it is completely, not completely different, but very different.
Okay.
So I do think it's worth playing both. It's not a remaster, it's not a remake. It is a reimagining. That's a very accurate description of it, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I mean, it plays completely differently. The AI on the soldiers is different, so it's much faster. They've gotten a lot of praise for the way they handled movement in the game, and it feels incredible. I was telling Jason, it actually inspired me to make a video. I'm going to try making my first video, and it's going to be
Cool.
on Black Mesa and my experience with it versus Half-Life 1 from the perspective of someone who loves that game. So
Nice.
that's when I was doing a lot of recording on gameplay this weekend, just trying to start on it. But God, I really hope a lot more people get to play it. It's got something like 96% positive reviews
Yeah.
on
That's
Steam,
pretty good.
Mhm.
and I am going to replay it as well this year. It's just I need a little bit of space. Not quite 15 years, but I am going to replay it at some point this year. And so yeah, I played those two. Yeah, I'm still playing the Batman Telltale game, but I don't. Telltale games for me are just kind of something I play when I don't know what I want to play, but I want to have something on. I mean, they're fine. I enjoy them a bit. My favorite one was Wolf Among Us, but other than that, they're just okay. But I'm playing Metro Exodus now, and so that came to Steam. They did a big sale on it, so Metro Exodus is pretty damn good so far. I'm only about 3.5 hours in, but I really love that series, and I'm curious to see what they do with this one, because Metro has always been about confined spaces. You're in the metro, spoilers, and This one is more about the open world, which is something you saw shown off when they had it on Microsoft stage at E3. And so I'm curious to see where they go with it. Technically, it's astounding. It's one of the best looking games I've ever seen. And the atmosphere that they've always been able to create is really amazing, especially if you play with headphones. It just like you feel like you're there.
Mm.
And so yeah, I'm about 3.5 hours into that, and I'm excited to see where that goes. But that pretty much covers everything I've been playing.
Metro book is pretty good.
I've never read them, and I've same way I've never read the Witcher novels. I do want to get to both of those.
Because
Is
it's
Metro a
based on a book,
series?
right?
Yeah,
Metro
I don't.
is a series.
It's a series of books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I've never read them, which is surprising because I love to read. But no, I've never read them, and but I do want to get to them. But yeah, fuck, that game's awesome. I don't have too much to talk about it with though, because I'm only about 3.5 hours in. But it's pretty damn good.
Cool. Moose, other than DC, where you been?
I mean, to be honest, that's it.
That's it. You just been hanging out in DC.
Yeah, I mean, having so much fun playing that. I mean, I've been looking at firing some other stuff up, and I was sitting in a party tonight with Justin before coming on here, and I'm just like, I don't like. I didn't want to get in a mission in DC. I can't farm for the trophy that I'm farming for because it's something that spawns every half hour, and I already.
You're doing the suits of cards.
Yes, I am doing the suits of cards. Which was I was telling Jason, I'm like, dude, if you start playing, I'll show you where it is, and start a timer every 30 minutes. Like if it's not every 30 minutes, like
every time you do a mission, every time that was my rhythm for it. Every time you do a mission, go back to the White House, walk south, kill that guy, and then leave.
Yeah, I was like, go, just get it done, because you'll it's because there's 5 spots you can farm the yellow level named characters, but I feel like that's more so if you're gonna do it if you're like level 30 and have some good gear,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that route is if you're just trying to farm for that trophy. If you do it with the White House spot, you can work it into your regular routine, and you should have that trophy by the time you're finishing the game or something, because there's 13 cards per suit, and right now I have 10 on 2 of them and 9 on 2
Basically,
of them.
the way it worked for me, I got my last suit, or I got my last card in a suit, when I had 12 of every category.
Oh yeah, I have a feeling that's how it's gonna happen.
I'm like, oh, okay.
But, I'm in no rush to get it. I run, I'm still doing dailies. I like running down there and getting it. Because I just cleared out. I did all of the invasion missions, so I can now do the Tidal Basin Stronghold to wipe out the Black Tusk for a while. I just haven't done the Stronghold, but there's plenty of stuff to do. I also have to do the bounties. The bounties is the other trophy that I need in regular game, so I have to start a list and just pick a safe house to go with and just work down my list on my bounties. And so work it, do a bounty, go farm, do a bounty. You know what I mean? It's not, I mean, it's a little bit frustrating, but it's not I'm not going to spend that time doing bounties. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to put, so it's just something to do in between doing bounties, and maybe do a daily or mix in helping somebody. And then I was looking at it, and I was thinking about trophies, and I'm trying to go for, and I already have it. When I was doing the Dark Souls 3 Platinum, and I was farming the vertebrae shackles, and I did 30 of them, and I already had that trophy. And I was like, son of a bitch. So I was sitting there playing yesterday, and I was just looking over what trophies I have left. And I'm like, I think I got these are the 3 main story trophies that I have. And it was the suits, the bounties, and then there's one where you answer a call to help somebody and revive them from being down. I'm like, I still gotta do that one. And I'm looking, I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, it's not down here. You know, as I looked, I've had it since like June of last year. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not answering the call anymore because I do not need to do that.
Yeah.
You know what game Moose is going to be playing again?
What?
See if I can get this to work right.
Did you just buy it?
I did.
Yeah! I'm jumping in.
Ugh.
I talked to my
You know,
coworker.
see, you know, I'm going to call Jason out right now. He's just doing this. So on future episodes of this show,
He
when
can
you
give me
mention-
shit. About
Exactly. That's what he's doing.
I have no idea what
Anyways.
you're talking about.
like-
Well, we'll get him.
No,
we'll
this
get-
is Moose. This is the troll needing food. That's what it is.
It's true. It's true.
No, Moose was telling me, he's told me every sale to get it. And not that I didn't trust Moose, but I talked to my one coworker who plays like 4 games only. He's kind of like Matt. He focuses and he goes, for $20, that's a steal. It's like
It is.
$90 value.
Because it has the 2 DLCs in it, and that's like the regular version. I think is like 11 or 13 or whatever, and then I saw that it was like $21 or whatever,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, for $90 down to 20, like that's $70 off. Like you can't beat that.
I mean,
So.
and like Dark Souls 3, the 2 DLCs, it's probably it's not the most important execution of the Souls formula, but it's probably the best execution of it.
He was asking me, he's like, I should just get Dark Souls 2, and I'm like, well, no. I was like, Dark Souls 3 is a really good experience. I still have to play Dark Souls 2.
I mean,
And I'd
Have
like
you ever
to
played
platinum it. I've only played like maybe like an hour or 2 of it, and I think I took a wrong turn, like you can in Dark Souls, where you go to the graveyard and you're like fighting the skeletons. I think I've gone that route in Dark Souls 2, and I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to be going this way.
I did that too. I played like 2 hours and you go into that forest that's all fog and you just keep getting killed. And you're like, what the hell is going
It's
on
like,
here?
I have a feeling I'm not supposed to be here at this level. But anyways, so yeah, I still have to play Dark Souls 2.
well, I mean,
But anyways, so I was just like, I told him like, I also feel, and like I've heard from a lot of people, that like Dark Souls 2 is a great game. It's not a good Dark Souls game. And so I was just like, just nab it, you know, and
I already
we'll play
own
it this
2
year.
anyway.
Yeah, he owns 2 anyways. So, and I bought 2. I bought it on like a steep sale one time, and I'm just like,
I think I got 2 for like $9.
Dark Souls 2 is. I think the more I look at Dark Souls 2, the more I think about it. It's a really friggin' good game, and it's even a good Dark Souls game. But the problem is the way, and this is something that, you know, gamers, myself included, this is the pattern we get in, where we see like a thing that is being sequeled, so we expect more of the thing. But Dark Souls 2 takes the thing and like shifts the camera in such a way that it's very disorienting. But the amount of intrigue that happens as you play through that game, and like the amount of questions it brings up, like it does a lot of the same things that Dark Souls 1 actually did. But instead of messing with time, the way, like, I think there was a Bonfire Side chats. They basically did an episode combing the Dark Souls games for, you know, just super analyzing all of it. And one of the things they said about Dark Souls 1 is timey-wimey, where Dark Souls 2 is spacey-wacy.
Okay.
Because Dark Souls 1, it messes with the flow of time, and Dark Souls 2, it messes with the construction of space. For example, there's a point where you were going up to the top of a windmill, and then you take an elevator up from that. Now, do you see this? Do you see this elevator shaft from the outside?
No.
But not only do you take an elevator up, but you end up in an area called Iron Keep that is nothing but lava.
Oh. Awesome.
So spatial construction is a really weird thing in Dark Souls 2, whereas flow of time is a weird thing in Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
And I think that because I think that it was a way for Miyazaki to get a bit of inspiration from his own team on how to move the series forward.
Yeah, because he didn't work on 2 because he was doing Bloodborne, but
Right. I think he just said, hey, let's try and make Dark Souls 2 different, and I'm gonna step away because I feel like I'll just make it the same.
right, exactly.
I mean, retrospectively, it's a really cool strategy on how Dark Souls 2 panned out. But yeah.
Like from the outside looking in, as someone who doesn't play the Dark Souls games, but I'm fascinated by them because I think everything about them is awesome. I'm just not good enough.
That's
what I had seen in a lot of the stuff, like on the Steam message boards, like people discussing the games, a lot of people seemed to prefer the way the map and the world worked in Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 2. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but a lot of people felt Dark Souls 1 flowed much better.
It's got a way of like building itself on top of itself. Like
in Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, like they're like you'll be playing, then you'll be like, oh shit, like this is linked to that, and you know what I mean? Like they do it does a really good job. Like I've maybe not talked about it here, but I've talked about it with friends, and I'm just like Dark Souls 1 does a really good job of building the world like around itself to where like you can like you'll go and you'll open up a shortcut and you'll be like, oh, I know where I am, and then you're like, oh, it kind of makes sense coming back to this. Whereas in like Dark Souls 3, like because the game is, you know, it's in a better engine, being on current gen or whatever, like you'll just be walking through an area, and if you have a view, you're like, I'm gonna go down to that place. You know what I mean? Like there's a point where you get into like the Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls 3, and you could turn around and look back, and you'll see where you fought the tutorial boss, and it's like way the hell down there. Like like you're like, that's really far, but it's like I was just there like 2 minutes ago. You know what I mean? So it's like it gets pretty crazy. And then like when you're getting up into the castle, and you're just like looking back behind you, or you're up in Fair and Keep, there's a spot where you can go up onto the wall. That's like, I don't know if it runs the perimeter of it, kind of keeps the Fair and Keep swamp area enclosed. And you could just see down into the swamp, or you could see like over in other areas. And it's just really freaking cool. Like how big the areas are. And even though you don't get to like explore like everything, like just being able to see them is really cool.
Yeah.
So. I never played a Souls game until I met Moose.
That's right.
And then the next 40 hours I spent on fucking Bloodborne.
Yeah, but you got that plat.
Now, who do we blame Moose on? Me.
Matt.
I remember, like, I don't know if I was just, I don't know if I'll be good at these games. I just never, and I got, like, addicted so quick. And then, like, I wasn't the greatest, but I remember one time, like, I think it was Logarius. Moose was like, watch out for the, and I, like, did a backstep, and he goes, oh, that was a pretty good dodge there.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of people.
I had that moment with Moose is when Gregarious killed me, and then he visceraled him to finish him off.
Yeah. I was like,
you killed my friend.
I was like, I avenged you. I think that'll actually probably be coming up on my timeline.
It has to be.
It has to be.
I just watched Awesome Games Done Quick. Guy did Dark Souls Remastered in 36 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched that while I was at the gym on the elliptical, and I was like, this is insane.
He got to Firelink in a minute. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
A minute?
Yeah.
He had that weird trick, if you exit the game, when you stand up, you break objects.
Oh, so I watched it.
He went next to the wall, exits, comes back in, the wall breaks. I was like, that is insane.
It's like, how do you even figure that out? Like some of the stuff that they do, like you're just like, how much play?
If you listen to the play-by-play guy, he goes, and you'll see an arrow fly by his back, and it's like he's standing there and you see it. It's like, What? How many times did you play that to figure out that arrow is gonna fly by his back?
That's crazy.
It's
Situational awareness, Lana.
it's weird how video games are essentially Groundhog Day, the movie.
Right. No, like I feel like, like people
A
talk
gust
about
of wind, cue the truck.
Right, exactly. Cue the truck. Cue the what is it? The pendulums.
Yeah.
Thingy in Saren's Fortress.
I think the weirdest thing is like we're amazed by like these speed runners, but there's always games we all play that like one of you could be playing Borderlands 2. I could phone in exactly what you need to do, and I don't have to be in the room. And like you don't think about it. You're like, oh, I guess that's...
Yeah.
Dude, I do that so much with like Dark Souls. People are like, Dark Souls 3, like, how do I do da-da-da? And it's like, I think you have to go here and do this. Or like, so we're building PvP characters because like we're like, we do a Dark Souls 3 Fight Club, which will get you one going. But anyway,
we don't talk about Fight Club. Jesus. You've broken this rule so many times. We're
kick you out.
I run the damn thing.
You're breaking your own rules.
So like just like the one of our players wanted to get the proper bow, which is the last gesture that I needed to get the gesture trophy. And I thought it was going to be harder than what it was, but it's like relatively easy. And it's like it's so easy to miss as a gesture, but you're just like, how, like, it's like, damn, it's like I told her, and then we were actually playing. She's like, I know you told me about this, but how do we do it? I'm like, you just go to the fair keep, you run out to the right, run up the hill, kill some stuff, and then they'll spawn, and you lay waste to them, and then you got to go turn this in and do this. I'm just like, I can't even remember my address sometimes.
Yeah, you did that. I was playing Old Hunters, and I'm like, I'm missing one weapon. He goes, Moose is like, where are you? And I'm like, tell him. He goes, okay, turn to your right. There's a ladder. I'm like, how do you know that? Like the line in Borderlands 2.
Go up the ladder.
Is it weird that I know what you're doing?
It's right there.
Scooter's like, is it weird that I watch you? That I know what you're doing right now? Like friends in a bathtub weird? Okay, got that got weird.
That's funny. But yeah, it's I feel like with Dark Souls, like I'm not like the best player. I definitely have like significant room for improvements, but I think we've had the conversation about people complaining about adding an easy mode and people like wanting that in the game, and it's like I feel like it takes away from your sense of accomplishment. And I understand that like people don't have a lot of time to spend on the game, but it's also like I don't like you need to take the time, like Gideon's a great example. He like got Borderlands and he thought it was like a hack and slash. And it's like, it's not a hack and, well, it's kind of a hack and slash, but it's not.
It's a shoot and shoot.
It's not like a speedy hack and slash. And then he was complaining about God of War because God the first 3 was a hack and slash, and now this one isn't, but is a hack and slash. And it's just like it's that inability to like change your mindset and be like, okay, like I need to learn this. Like here's the tips to learn. Like bait the enemy into trying to hit you first, dodge, and then attack them. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty standard Dark Souls, or even Bloodborne. Parry. You know what I mean? Or like shoot them to stun them and then do a visceral attack. You know, like you gotta. The thing is like it's that anxiety caused by standing there and watching the big ass ogre with the brick in its hand who's gonna like hit you real hard if you don't time this right. And so you're like, it causes an anxiety, but it's like you just got to get over that. And you might die a couple times, but if you practice it and you get it down pat, like if you get your viscerals and your parries done right, like you'll get very, very far in Bloodborne. So it's just it's not necessarily a skill level. It's like Richie has always said, like it's trying to unlearn like bad habits that you've taught yourself. You know what I mean? Like I hate the saw cleaver because it's so short. But like now that I've started a saw cleaver run, like I appreciate it. Like I've gotten, like I don't like being close to the enemies because they hit so hard. but like understanding the way they move and understanding the way the weapon works better, and actually practicing that has made me better with the saw cleaver, and just like I move through things faster than what I would have if I'd not done that. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's always room for improvement. I mean, I'd eventually like to do a BL4 run for Bloodborne, but I don't know, that might be crazy for anyone who's listening. That's basically just means not leveling your character, so no stat boosts. You just level your weapons, and that's it. And so
And
that's
then
a
you
lot
watch
of fun.
streamers do it with ease.
I know. Like I watched Richie do it, and I'm just like, this is insane. Like he might get stuck on. He was stuck on, not stuck. So he was doing a D rest, and he was on Lawrence for like,
What does that mean?
2 days. What?
A D.
So a D rest is basically like playing the game again to try and like reacquaint yourself with the controls, get back in the swing of things. So he was just doing like,
D-Rust. That's what.
Oh, I said D-Rust. Yeah, sorry. So he was doing a D-Rust Bloodborne run, and he was at Lawrence, I think, for 2 days total, and just trying to get like, he was having issues with like his controller, like eating input and whatnot. Like he would be like dodging, and his character would just be standing there. And it's just like, that's not helpful. But like he was stuck on Lords for like 2 days. I'd be there for like 2 months,
Right.
like on a blood level 4. So it's just like, it's just crazy how the no hit runners and the like Jason was saying, the game's done quick did Dark Souls in like 35 minutes, and it's like you watch him and you're like, there's a lot of skill involved there, but it's kind of like, I feel like if I applied myself, I could learn that. You know what I mean? Like you can learn like all the tricks that they were doing, you know, and use those to your advantage. So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would be like the blood level 4, soul level 1, all that stuff is really cool, and it's really fun to have done, because Ahmed and I did Dark Souls on PS3, soul level 1. We got through New Game Plus. We basically platinumed the game soul level 1 essentially, and that was fun. I would never do it again, just because it's too stressful.
Yeah.
But also watching people who have played a game that much is actually super helpful when you're stuck. Yeah. I mean, I would be a complete liar if I said that watching a speedrunner in Sekiro didn't help me.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't. Now, granted, it gave me strategy ideas. It did not win those battles for me.
Right. You know, like, even though I watched Richie play Dark Souls and Bloodborne for God knows how long on Twitch now, and like you still learn like new stuff about the game. Like I had no idea. Like I think it was while I was playing, and I was climbing a ladder, and I hit the button by accident. Like I didn't know you could heal while you're on the ladder. I was like, what? I was like, I was climbing down a ladder. And I was trying to hit the button to slide down faster, circle, and I hit square by accident, and my character took a drink, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? What? I'm like, I've been playing this game for how long? Like 4 years, and I did not know that you can heal while you're climbing up and down a ladder. I was like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see people on dance pads, and you're like, nah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, or playing it with like bananas,
or a toaster.
Yeah, toaster. You're like, oh, get out of here. Get out of here. But,
Matt, what have you been playing since you returned to consoles?
Well,
I forgot.
On Friday, I played a bit of Gundam Versus.
Nice. How are you liking it?
That game is cool. Okay. Full disclosure, playing the game is not actually something I've done, because while it was downloading, it got to that part where you could just start it, and it would just load you in. Well, it just drops you into a combat arena, and you just fight endless bots that are coming at you.
No, cool.
I did that for about an hour and a half while I waited for the game to finish downloading, and then by the time it finished downloading, I had to go to bed. But Doing that was actually really fun. There's no tutorial, so I kind of had to figure out all the commands myself. There's probably some things I've missed, but again, like fighting in giant robots is really, really fun, especially when you have the amount of tools that seem to exist and at the speed they exist in that game.
Do you feel it controls better?
I feel
as good as Daemon X Machina, because I know you played that.
Oh, it's better than Daemon X Machina, or at least because Daemon X Machina is more aerial combat than melee combat, and in this there's a good balance.
So it's like either or. So like you can play like a melee class or an air or like a
you can switch between both on the fly.
Nice, very nice.
You can your shoulder cannon can fire a missile, and you could just come at them with your sword. Or
like a hit check.
Or you can use a static field that basically paralyzes your enemy, and then if you time your melee attack at the right time, you do a little finishing move. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to playing that a lot. I got that specifically because there's a new Gundam game coming out that looks somewhere along the lines of Dragon Ball Fighters. It's called Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost on, because Japanese games are named incredibly. But it looks super cool, and so I'm playing this as sort of a primer for that.
It's $15 right now on sale.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, that's why I'm pulling the trigger. And then while the boys were here, we had initially planned to play a lot of Heave Ho while they were here, because the last time they were here, we played a lot of that, had a blast. And while we were waiting for the pizzas to cook, I had my PS4 on, and Zach says, "What is Super Meat Boy?"
Oh, you poor kid.
I'm like, come on over here. We're gonna talk.
Let's have a conversation about this.
I'm like, okay, here, just take the controller, play Super Meat Boy. Kid's good at it. Number one, he got super far, super quick. It was like, it was so heartwarming to watch him just get frustrated and then having fun and like trying to figure out, moving through each little level. And then the first time he had a level where he died a lot and finished, I'm like, don't hit next. And you see all the little meat boys like go out. He and Gabe were just laughing at that. They thought that was absolutely wonderful. I'm like, I love these kids. And anyway, we played a lot of that, and then we did end up playing Heave Ho. But as we were browsing through my Switch library, Gabe says, "Oh, you have Baba Is You? I want to play that game." I'm like, "Come on over. let's have a chat." Both of them trying to figure out their way through Baba Is You. They're like, "Wait a minute. I just changed the rules?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what you do." And like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." But then like you see him as it progresses, like they're like, "I can't," they're like, "I can't process all that." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a bit of a, it messes with you a little bit." But yeah, so both of them left our house saying, "I think we have 2 games we have to get." And I'm like, "Kids will be all right. Kids will be okay." So that was fun. And then overnight on Sunday, I actually dug into the backlog. I had planned to do 3 games. I only got 2 of them done. I went back to Gorogoa, which is a puzzle game from I think it's Buried Signal, and then it's published by Annapurna. So Matt likes that.
Yeah, Matt's all over that.
It's a really cool puzzle game. Good visuals, interesting use of mechanics where you'll there's kind of like an MC Escher-ish
I was
construction.
gonna ask if that's the one where it's like you're moving through like
You're moving through pictures, but like
yeah.
moving through the game, it sort of made me think of MC Escher's like art.
Okay.
And I had played most of it before, but I actually finished it, and I looked at the trophy list and saw that I was only 2 trophies from the platinum, so I platinumed it. And then I went back to a first-person puzzler called Blackwood Crossing. That's an interesting story about grief. Good use of puzzles and good visuals. They look, I mean, the characters in it look very Pixar-ish, but then there are also a bunch of characters with paper mache masks on that looks a bit horror-y, but it's there a lot of there's an unsettling quality to those scenes, used very well, but really cool. Good. There's some pyrokinesis mechanics. Also a very quick story. It's like 2 hours long at best.
Nice.
And yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And then I actually fired up again Day of the Tentacle Remastered.
Fuck yes.
And, that game.
Do tell, Matt.
That game is funny.
Yes, it is.
It really is. And like, I don't find myself, laughing out loud, but man, does a lot of that dialogue make me smile. I think the character Hoagie might be my spirit animal.
Oh, he's awesome, man. I'm so happy to hear you talking about it.
Like Hoagie rules for as bumbling as he seems to be. And if you talk about Day of the Tentacle, you have to mention Les Nessman from WKRP, because his voice work in that is very good. I didn't actually get through it because I started playing it before I had to go to bed today, but yeah, I'm going to play through that again. And that game is a lot of fun.
Game's awesome, man. That's one of Tim Schafer's best games in my
opinion. I would say it probably is. I haven't played Full Throttle. I have played Grim Fandango, and I think Day of the Tentacle is better than Grim Fandango. I think Grim Fandango did achieve something technically better, but I feel like Day of the Tentacle it's a very good just overall package.
It's an incredible game. I mean, Grim would still be my favorite of his games. We'll do a whole show on LucasArts. Trust me, I could talk about that for days. But it's probably my favorite. But yeah, I'm so happy to hear you talking about Day of the Tentacle. It's like you're picking between 1A and 1B.
Exactly.
I absolutely love Day of the Tentacle. Full Throttle is awesome too.
I mean, what inspired me to go back is I read a piece on Vice. I read a whittle book. I read a piece on Vice Games about an old LucasArts game called Loom.
Oh, what a game!
And I saw that article.
And I was watching this. I'm like, I don't know anything about this because I was what? It was 93, so I was 13 when it came out, almost 14. So I was a silly child that played silly games, and I don't even think I was playing PC games at that point yet. Or if I was, they were super small DOS games rather than big LucasArts adventures. But that game sounds just awe-inspiring and ambitious, and it's another one of the many reasons why I would like to get a PC.
Yeah, that game's incredible. Another one they did was The Dig, which is
I've heard of The Dig,
a Steven Spielberg game.
Yeah,
and that game's incredible as well. Like all those old LucasArts games, the Indiana Jones, one is probably my other than Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Last Crusade. Fate of Atlantis is my third favorite Indiana Jones adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've talked
really
about that
damn
just in
good.
conversation a lot.
Yeah, it's really damn good, man. So all those games are Monkey Island.
Yeah, and I think the only adventure games I played at the time, I think I probably played one Sierra one.
Police Quest, Quest for Glory.
I did not play that. No,
Space Quest.
I played probably the worst one. Like the one that sticks out in my mind is Robin Hood Conquest of the Longbow.
Oh, that's very, very old.
And about, I think about 13 or 14 years ago, I actually went back and was looking at ratings for old games that I remembered. And I think that one was like a 2-star at best.
Yeah, Sierra had a lot of excellent stuff. I was just talking with our friend Jesse, because he quite likes adventure games as well, and we were reminiscing about Gabriel Knight, which is one of the old Sierra ones, and there's a remastered version of it. It's out on iPad and tablets and Steam, so we're going to replay that and just discuss our feelings on it today in 2020. Cool. I think you'd like a lot of those games.
I probably would. I mean, I would like to. I mean, I think one of the things that Reba and I had discussed is we would like to do something for ourselves before we actually adopt a child. Like she would like to have a couple of trips, and I would like to get a PC. So we have started building both of those things into our plan.
It's awesome, man. Happy to help you. You can do it really cheap now.
Oh yeah, I know. You and I have had multiple conversations about this. I just need I just need to get the rocket off the ground.
You got some of the parts. You got the case. You got the power supply.
Yep. Yeah, practically there. But yeah, no, I will be asking you and probably Lee at Phoenix Overdrive for all the advice I will need. Let's see. And then also overnight on Sunday, I did a couple of stupid things. One, I realized that NXT is on Hulu, so I started watching an episode of that. If you don't know what NXT is, it is WWE. And I see Jason just dropping his head. Moose, I'm pretty sure he just rolled his eyes.
Oh my eyes. I was just like, I mean, hey, listen, enjoy the zaniness you like, man.
Yeah, exactly. But also, like, all that did was make me want to play Fire Pro again. So I did that.
You did that, okay.
I did a few matches of that. Yeah, Fire Pro Wrestling, still good.
Nice.
It's still probably the best wrestling game on PS4.
Definitely, what is it? WWE 2K.
I mean, unless you really like weird sex-looking glitches, but I don't know about gameplay.
Don't kink shame people.
I'm not going to. Yeah, so I did that as well. I started creating a wrestler, but then I'm like, I don't really have any inspiration, so I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I did finish Neon Genesis Evangelion. So,
nice. What'd you think of it?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's my second time going. It's my second time going, beginning to end, and probably one of the better animes I've ever seen. And I still need to watch the movies. I haven't watched them yet. But yeah, that anime goes some places. But that's really it for what I've been playing. And anything anybody would like to just sort of jab about before we get out of here?
I saw a post before we hopped on here, and I know like we touched on the game a little bit, and it's been kind of in like development hell for a while. And I shouldn't say hell. I should just say it's been in development for a while. But like the game Dreams,
Well, development hell, it's released now. So.
Well, I that's why I corrected myself. It was just in development for a while, and so like A lot of just because like a lot of gamers want to put that on there just because it's like, oh, well, you announced it and it didn't come out like yesterday, so I'm pissed about it and you're making me wait forever. And it's like, shut the fuck up and just let them work on the game. But
Imagine how people feel about Star Citizen.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Well, what about people in Half-Life 3 if it even exists?
or
that's different because
let's talk about Black Mesa.
Yeah, like Half-Life 3 is a bit different because it doesn't exist officially. Whereas the game like Dreams or Star Citizen,
that's right. It was officially
they were shown,
You're right, Matt.
And then never heard from again.
So it like the first time they showed that game, I was just like, okay, this is interesting, And I was like trying to take the No Man's Sky approach to like keep the expectations low, like it looks cool. You can create your own thing. And
they showed that like at the PS4 reveal, didn't they?
I think like maybe a little bit after, like maybe in the next E3, if it wasn't the reveal.
Because like I remember them doing a weird claymation thing, and I'm like, what is?
Oh, I think the claymation thing was at PSX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is Media Molecule doing?
And then, but like the things that people are creating in it, like I just saw. So the article I saw on Facebook was all the Super Mario games.
Yeah,
they're showing up.
Oh yeah,
PS4 from people creating them in Dreams, and I'm like, that is insane.
It's
like,
bananas.
That is so cool. And Matt and I have talked about it, about picking up the game, and I feel like I do want to pick up the game. Number one has been getting really good reviews, which is great. I'm so happy for them. I'm happy that they took the time to make what they wanted to make and put it out there. And a lot of people are just like, wow, this is really cool. But I feel from a gamer's perspective, I'm more of a person that wants to interact with stuff that's been created by other people, which Matt and I have stated. We're like, let's just wait until like the creator catalog is just like super huge, and then we can go in and just play like whatever's in there. And then maybe get the inspiration to create a game in Dreams, But
it's like that. Do you see the Fallout 4? It's got 3 playable missions.
Yeah, like you can someone recreated Fallout 4 in it as well. It's so crazy awesome.
Bonkers.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Like what they have been able to do with that, and it's just like I'm glad that they proved people wrong because like going through its development cycle, like a lot of people are like, what the heck is this? Is this even going to be a viable game? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are they doing? And it's like, I feel like Media Molecule is just taking their next evolution as a developer. You know what I mean? Like they were able to evolve.
Need to hire some of these people to work on games.
Yeah. But
I think the fascinating thing is listening to Vinny at Giant Bomb talk about it. He's like, I don't know how games are made. Or I know a little bit about the process, but not like I couldn't quit Giant Bomb and make a game tomorrow.
Right.
But you have to wonder just how many questions were asked at every step of creating Dreams, because the technical, the vast amount of consideration you have to have in teaching someone who doesn't know how to play a game or how to make a game. And then giving them an engine to make a game and say, this is how this works. This is how this works. You have to somehow concisely bring all the pieces of it together.
Right.
And I mean, as little as I know about the process, and I know way less than most, like the idea of coming up with an idea and making a game is still just an unfathomable journey.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that a group of people said, hey, we're going to teach people how to make a game in an engine on a console. And they kind of said, they kind of addressed that problem. And apparently it works. And I mean, plenty of developers on Twitter are going, wow, Dreams is really great, you guys.
What's really awesome about it also is like, so Jeff and I were in a party talking about it and just discussing how like Greg Miller from Kind of Funny Games was talking about how he has like all these ideas of wanting to do stuff with games, but he just doesn't have like the creative know-how of like creating music or creating this. And so he's like reaching out to his community, and like that's something else that you don't even have to create a game. on Dreams.
Yeah.
You know, just create some music, create assets, throw some, you know, throw like a world up in there, and you know, like someone could pick your world possibly in a map or whatever, and someone could pick somebody else's like animations for like, you know, whatever is going to be in the game, whether it's people or, you know, whatever. And then they could pick somebody else's music, and, you know, like, I think that is really awesome. And I can't wait to see like all the crazy cool stuff that gets created. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone could recreate like crazy games like PT in there. I'm sure somebody's working on it now because you can't get PT anymore.
I'm pretty sure there was an article about PT being created in Dreams.
You might be right then. Well, then see, that's awesome. So like, it's just
coming in 2021, Black Mesa in Dreams.
You're just gonna port the code.
It's insane that like someone at Media Molecule or the team created something that allows someone to make that Fallout 4 in game.
Yeah.
So like the Fallout 4 is impressive, but the fact that they created a game that allows someone to do that and have it functioning, it's like, holy crap, the amount of stuff going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at what they were doing with Little Big Planet 2 and the stuff that the levels that people were making in that creator, I tried it once, I could barely figure it out. And then you play someone's level and they've remade Mario in Little Big Planet 2. And it's like, I don't know how you got to this level, but it's awesome. And it was really cool just seeing what they could do with those limited tools. So seeing what they can do with Dreams is really, I'm glad that Sony gave them the freedom to just make whatever the hell they wanted and supported it for this long, because Microsoft had Project Spark briefly, and that was this generation. That was something I thought sounded really cool, and they pulled the plug on that very, very quickly.
Right.
Well, I mean, we've always had this conversation where like Microsoft is all about like Last Guardian. They would have killed the Last Guardian like not even 5 years into development. They'd have been like, get the hell out of here with this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
I feel
no longer
like
viable.
I feel like Dreams, like you said, like would be dead in the water. They would have got rid of that, you know? So I feel like Sony's approach is more like long game, whereas in Microsoft is like hit quick.
That's something that a lot of people have said, like, you know, Sony has kind of always given them the freedom. They trust their creators. So, you know, Hideo Kojima says, I want to make this game, and pitches Death Stranding, and
I want to make the best walking simulator.
Yeah, and so a lot of people probably were like, what the hell is this? You know, we're not making this.
Yeah.
And Sony's like, all right, that's fine. Here's the money, and come back when you got a game.
Well, I mean, I think we kind of have to ask the question: is Sony able to give these studios the time because they're ahead? Because I feel like you can't really address this without addressing that, because they were super far ahead for a super long time. And
well,
I mean, you could say Game Pass is bringing Xbox One back.
Not on the hardware side. They're bleeding money on hardware,
right?
From their most recent earnings call. So it's not selling consoles.
I mean, because I feel like tables turned. Dreams doesn't happen. Death Stranding doesn't happen, or maybe they don't happen, or maybe they don't happen on PlayStation.
One of the differences is Microsoft has unlimited funds, so they can lose a shitload of money on whatever they want. They can afford to lose a ton of money, whereas Sony doesn't have that. So. Yeah, like Sony doesn't have that unlimited funds. I mean, they got a lot of money. They paid $230 million for Insomniac.
Right, but also Microsoft has unlimited funds, but that doesn't mean they're giving those funds to the Xbox division.
No, and what I mean, so like Microsoft has unlimited funds, but there is a point, as they've shown, where they say, okay, that's enough, lost on that, done. But I think under Phil Spencer, they're giving people a lot more freedom, or at least a lot more trust, and a lot more leeway in what they want to create. So,
well, I feel with like, what was it, E3, where they showed like the indie developers that they picked up, and it's just like they're probably looking at what Sony's doing and are like, how can we lock down like single player story? How can we lock down like these really awesome experiences for our gamers? I mean, I'll be honest, the only reason I don't buy an Xbox is because like I'm tired of playing Halo. I'm tired of playing fucking Gears, and like I can play the games I can play on Xbox on my PS4 and get all the kick-ass PS4 games. So it's like I don't feel the need to buy an Xbox. But if Xbox comes out swinging and is like, well, Hellblade 2 is going to be on the Xbox One X series, whatever they want to call it. Just add more X's and series and X's to it. Just keep increasing the name of that.
The 12-year-old screen name.
Yeah, I know, the 12-year-old screen name. But anyways, they're
our next console, the Microsoft XX Bong Slayer 420 XX.
Yeah, like I feel like they're doing a good job of taking the approach that Sony does, where it's like, okay, here, you know, like you work for us now, but like take your time creating something. Like I'd like to see legitimately how long they give these developers to like turn something out. I mean, obviously it looks like Hellblade 2 is going to be a launch title this fall for the X1 Series X, but I think it's been in development for a while, and it's been what, 2015, 2016?
2016,
I want to say.
Sacrifice, I believe.
Yeah, so 4 years. Yeah. 4 years is a decent time. I mean, especially if you
that came out 2017.
2017? So 3 years. So, I mean, and if you can use some of the same assets that you used for your previous game, you know, without having to do like a huge overhaul. But I mean, the game definitely doesn't look like it's, you know, the same game engine. It looks a lot better when you look at the trailers. But I mean, and also like there's also the reports that like Microsoft is like, there is no console war because we're not even competing with consoles. You know what I mean? Like it's just, this is our platform. Xbox is a platform. You can play on Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, whatever the hell it is, and now the Series X, and you can play their games on PC. And so they're they're more so trying to get away from the sea of sameness and not die, you know, like the Xbox division. Obviously Microsoft's not going to die because they got
Microsoft
Windows. They got Windows. But like I feel Sony, with the rumors of Sony doing the whole like but rumors of putting Horizon Zero Dawn on PCs, like is smart on Sony's point, because like they need to like broaden their portfolio, you know? Because I mean, all of a sudden, like, what if people are like, well, I don't, you know, what are they going to do if people are like, I don't want to buy your console, you know?
Yeah.
Then they don't. I don't want them to go the route of Sega, where like, you know, like they make a system and like that's the last one, and then they go into like just being a developer. Like I like their ecosystem, I like their platform, I like trophies, like the way the whole thing works. And so I think they can survive. I think they can both coexist. And I think definitely towards the tail end here, where they were like, let's do cross-platform, like Sony coming around on the cross-platform playing and all that stuff is very smart. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes this next console generation. I don't think it's going to really be a war like everybody thinks it's going to be. I just think it's going to be, you know, I think it's going to be more about the games this console generation than anything. Not that it hasn't been, but you know what I mean? Like, like it's more so like, oh, well, you buy an Xbox because of Halo and Gears. Oh, well, you buy a PlayStation for like all the Sony games, or whatever, you know. Sony's got a lot of good IPs.
Well, I mean that's the conversation too, because people say, oh, you buy an Xbox for Halo and Gears, whereas on Sony's end, you're like the Sony games.
Right.
Because they're not really known for a particular franchise anymore. That like, I mean,
which I feel like I'd love to see him like Siphon Filter, like bring back Siphon Filter, bring back a really good shooter, you know, add some co-op, some multiplayer, and get that going. SOCOM, they could revitalize SOCOM or even Killzone. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they're gonna have as launch titles for the PS5 this fall.
I mean, it's also becoming increasingly apparent that guess what? These consoles are just PCs.
Yeah, they're definitely moving in that direction.
So
the whole war thing is
stupid.
So stupid. Like I have like my neighbor was getting an Xbox, Now, my thought process is like, why would you get an Xbox? But that's what her son wanted because his friends had it. They
Yeah.
don't care about.
Yeah.
Like for all the people who podcast like we do,
Mhm.
there's probably 10 times the number who own the. Like PlayStation sold all those consoles, PS4, all those consoles. I bet you a majority of them could care less what, like, oh, I got this over the Xbox. They just got it because that was
That was what their friends had.
friends had it, mom and dad bought them it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's it's stupid. If you really think there's a war, you're the problem.
Yeah. And there are some people that do.
Oh no, there are, but there's plenty of people I hear make the argument like, oh, like calling people Sony ponies, and it's like, what system do you own? Both? Then shut up.
Yeah.
You're
so you're
a pony too.
so you're a pony bot. Okay, got it.
Do a little dance, pony bot.
Yeah.
Like personally, I think it's insane to own both and a PC. I think that's just crazy.
Yeah.
But if you do and you could afford it, more power to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like this gen, it's like, okay, whatever Nintendo system, whatever Sony system, and then a PC, because like we were saying, Xbox is going to be having, like, so Microsoft's going to be putting their games on everything. It's just going to be the question, like, can you play games that come out on Xbox, like indie games or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Can you play them elsewhere if they're not on other, like if they're not on, say it's Xbox, and will you be able to play it on PC if it's not on the PS4, PS5 or whatever? That's the real question. First party, we know.
Yeah. I mean, and more often than not, like at least with games that show up as a Microsoft console exclusive, more often than not, they're on Steam, or I guess we could say Epic now, because like look at Outer Wilds. It showed up on Xbox One and PC at the same time.
Yeah.
And then
Ashen
was the same way.
Yeah, they signed exclusivity deals on Epic.
So I don't know. I'm guessing Phillips would probably be the most appropriate person to direct this question at. So with where things seem to be heading, if Sony is going to increasingly, if it's a big if, I know, if they're going to start publishing their games on PC, or I think there's also been rumors of the PlayStation 5 being Sony's last console.
Yeah, I heard that rumor.
Now, does that basically mean that going forward they would either would they become a launcher at that point?
I think they would go. Who knows? I think they would probably go with Steam. I mean, Microsoft has embraced Steam. They have their own store, and they're putting stuff on Windows Store and on Steam. There's over 100 million active Steam accounts. It's just such an audience. Even Rockstar tried their launcher. They put Red Dead 2 exclusive to their launcher for a couple weeks, and then put it out on everything afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So could Sony try it? Sure, but maybe they would try it in like the PS Now thing, because like PS Now is available on PC right now.
Okay.
So you could do it that way. I think Death Stranding is already.
It's on Steam.
It's been announced for Steam.
I
can't remember. I think it's been announced for Steam and Epic Game Store.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but who knows? It's hard to predict where the industry's going. I mean, even from 2013 to now, I don't think anybody would have expected that it's gone the way it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like asking it as a point of like Sony's disappearing.
No. I mean, that's like saying Sega hasn't disappeared. They don't make consoles.
Yeah,
they
don't make consoles anymore. But
there's a Sonic movie in the theaters right now. Like,
that's true.
They haven't disappeared.
Sonic and Mario now coexist in games.
But yeah,
Sega makes
their Olympic games coming out soon. Already
they make Yakuza, and they have lots of stuff that
they publish Persona.
Sega has not disappeared. I mean, they're still making games, and they're still around. And I don't think Sony is going anywhere in terms of I mean, they just paid a shitload of money for Insomniac, and I don't think that they invested that kind of money just for a 5-year console generation.
Yeah, I agree. But
I
I'm
agree
just
with that
thinking,
too.
like, in terms of if they were to stop making consoles,
Mhm.
like I'm pretty sure there are some. Though actually, I'll say this for a friend. If they stop making consoles, would I still be able to get my trophies on PC? Like that would be what I would want to do.
PlayStation. So yeah, maybe they could make it's totally feasible for them to make like PlayStation just as an app. You can have. I have Xbox Live on PC. I can do all my achievements and stuff like that if I want. So yeah, it would be totally possible, and they know that there are people who will pay for that to be able to do that. So even if they're not playing on, there could be an app on your TV, a PlayStation app, and
PlayStation Plus. That's exactly what it'll end up being.
yeah, like it's just an app on your TV, and it's all cloud cloud based, and for the people who want like the highest fidelity experience, they'll still have dedicated hardware. And for a lot of the console people who it's just about picking up a controller and playing, a lot of it will be cloud based.
Or maybe this will be their last console generation, but they'll bring back the Veo PCs. Remember them?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
They sold that division. They weren't too good, but
no, but they'll bring them back better.
Yeah, we'll see if it's I don't think it's the last
I
console.
don't think so either.
I think Stadia was like, hey guys, here's what not to do for future warning.
Well, I mean, and then like that GeForce Now came out, and it seemed to be doing the Stadia thing right, but then the rest of the world caught up with it, and now everybody's pulling their games off.
I think that's a licensing thing. Because
I think so too.
Like, I think people just read the headlines, like the Bethesda one. They have their own launcher. I think there's there's a conflict between launching on GE4 because there must be something for. It could be any number of things, but I think it's
my guess is NVIDIA reached out to these companies and said, hey, while this is in beta, can we run your games just to make sure it works? And then it went live, and everyone's like,
Because Wolfenstein Youngblood is still available, even though the others aren't. So it's something weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, licenses are fun. But I think we should get out of here because I have to get to work.
All right.
So yeah, it's episode 8.
Woo!
Moving right along, guys.
Yeah, we are.
We're moving right along. So you know who we are. You heard it in the beginning. You'll hear it at the end. We're out of here.
Have a good one.
You're not going to do it, Moose? Do it.
Story Route Zero, we have some cool friends who do some cool things, and I'd like to tell you about them. Phoenix Overdrive uses the power of games and gamers to help heal sick kids through the charity Extra Life. Phoenix Overdrive fundraises for Children's Miracle Network hospitals all year, every year, and the fund culminates in a 24-hour gaming marathon. Find out more about their events and projects online via Facebook at facebook.com/Phoenix Overdrive or on Twitter and Instagram at PHX_Overdrive. You can also join the Facebook group of Pawn Stars at facebook.com/groups/PO Nation in order to share and discuss all the latest in nerd culture. They've also got a podcast, Nerd Overdrive, which you can see weekly at youtube.com/Phoenix Overdrive. You can also catch it on Facebook Live or twitch.tv/PHX_Overdrive. That podcast is also published on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. You want merch? They got merch. Merch can be ordered from tinyurl.com/PHXOD merch, a portion of which goes to their fundraising efforts. Join the nation and be a hero to sick kids, as El Capitan Ray Osorio, Lee the Maestro, and Becky, the lovely queen of the guild, always say, #Rise Above. This has been an episode of Story Route Zero. Thank you for coming along on this journey. We sincerely hope you enjoyed yourself as much as we enjoyed having you. Once again, you can find everything we do at StoryRoute0.com. Hit us up on Twitter at StoryRoute_0, or you can email us at StoryRoute0@gmail.com. If you'd like to hit us up individually anywhere, you can find Moose at Sven, that's SVHENN, everywhere on social media. That's PSN, that's Twitter, that's Instagram. You can also find him on Twitch, streaming games. You can find Jason Marshall at GimpyJ with 2 Y's at the end. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Twitch, and he also has a website called whereisthepausebutton.com. Captain Canada is the only Story Route Zero exclusive. He's the only one you can only find right here on the show. As for me, I'm Infinite_Rewind everywhere I'd like to be. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's PSN, and Twitch. I also have my own website, InfiniteRewind.com, where I do all sorts of weird writing and rambling. Check us out at all the places. And remember, you are always welcome, and you will always have a seat waiting for you on this ride. But for now, it's back to the real world for us. We will see you on the next one.